she dropped the word lint-free wipe and boom, the chat box just lights up. Which ones do you use? What are they? Where can I get them? This, that, and the other. So boom, boom, and boom. Hey there, I am Paola of PaolaPonceNails.com, and I help current and aspiring nail techs become thriving entrepreneurs by mastering all of their gel nail services using soft gel only. If this sounds like a niche you'd like to continue exploring, then at the end of this video, do consider subscribing. All right, so today I have a topic that is quite popular among our private community, lint-free wipes. I'm gonna tell you what I like and what I've been using for years, and I'm also gonna talk about what my community is raving about, and then also what the standard is among people that are either starting out or budgeting and don't really kind of wanna invest in a higher quality lint-free wipe. I think you're going to gain a lot of information and find the one that works out for you. Light Elegance, they are 100, or at least I have not really put them to the test yet, 100% lint free. All right, Kokoist. Now these kind of became popular when Katie Masters and I were on a live, and she dropped the word lint free wipe and boom, the chat box just lights up and everyone's like, lint free wipes, which ones do you use? What are they? Where can I get them? This, that, and the other. And meantime, I'm here trying to continue the class and tell you how to apply the gels, and again, the chat box is like lit up with comments about these lint-free wipes. So, you know, we put in the word for Kokoist and like, hey, can you, I know these are only like a Japan thing, but do you want to drop them here in the US and see how they do? So these were released in the US, I want to say like 2 months ago. So boom, boom, and boom. Have you ever started with paper towels? I probably did, but if I did, it was like a super short period because I don't even remember tearing towels to, you know, proceed with my gel manicure services. But so many people do, and I've been to salons where they do the whole paper towel thing. Okay, this, and these are 2x2 4-ply dental sponges or dental gauzes. Spoiler alert, I've been using these for 5+6 years, and today again we're going to put them to the test and see how they compare to what we have here, and is this all the lint-free wipe you need, or do you benefit from having a 100% lint-free wipe like this, or maybe something like that. Okay, and then these I get from a dental source. You can probably find one yourself. You can buy a whole case of these things, like 5,000 of them, like for only $40, and that's on Amazon. I'll link you down below also. All right, so are you excited? Before anything, I want you to think about the 3 scenarios, the 3 instances during gel service that you require the use of a lint-free towelette. Number 1, prep. You need to dehydrate or cleanse the natural nail of oils and debris and dust and everything else. During your service, perhaps you are dry wiping your brushes, or you are creating art that requires a lint-free surface, and so you're using your towelettes. And then after, so when you cure your top coat and your top coat still has a tacky residue, like it's not a non-wipe top gel, then you go ahead and you scrub that residue off. That's another scenario that you would use a towelette. Now at that final stage, having lint is not necessarily an issue because the gel is already cured. However, this is a big thing, especially when we're working with soft gel formulas. As you know, my niche is soft gel. I learned this from my Japanese gel nail training, and basically what I was taught is that you don't want any hard, rough surface or texture to wipe the inhibition layer off of your top gel. This is also one of the big reasons I believe that nail companies have really made the effort to provide us with non-wipe top gel, because of this one technicality, and it's a good one, I think. I mean, you don't want to scratch your top gel, so they always recommended that you use something soft, like kind of like those facial bamboo. I do happen to have them here. However, these are not necessarily completely lint-free either, so I wouldn't classify this as a lint-free towelette, although as you can see it's like silky smooth. So this is sort of like the material that I was trained to wipe the inhibition layer off of my top gel, or if I'm cleaning my brushes or a lot of tools, I do keep these handy also. Paper towels, as you can feel, are very, very rough. You've dulled and to some extent scratched that top gel. So either way, that was a principle that I was taught early on, not to use rough paper towels or towelettes of any kind to wipe off the residue off of your top gel. If you would just take this paper towel and tear it, you may or may not be able to see that there is actually small particles coming into the breathing zone or just in the area here. If this was your like only option at the moment, or this is all you could afford, or you're really trying to cut back on costs because maybe you're just starting out, you're DIY, or maybe you are a pro but you rather spend your money somewhere else, then what I would recommend that you do, rather than tearing this towelette and causing all those particles to go all over the place, is to go ahead and cut it, because that is going to minimize the amount of particles in the air or lint pieces that this towel might have. So this would not work out for my niche particularly, okay? It will work out maybe for prep, again, if I don't tear it but rather cut it, and it wouldn't really work for dry wiping either. Again, this is not a complete debris and lint-free surface. It does have dust, as I told you earlier, and when you dry wipe your brush and your brush is sticky, it will pick up some of the things on it. So that's the paper towel. What else do we have here? Well, I'm gonna go with these guys here, the Light Elegance cleansing wipes. Now here you have their big bold statement, 100% lint free. They also say that they are absorbent and strong. Again, I believe I paid about $12 for this, and then the rest was shipping, so I did kind of splurge here, like almost $20 on this pack. You get 360, and when I first saw it, I did think like, oh my gosh, like, how is this different than this? It nearly looks like the same and definitely feels the same. It has that texture. So I'm being completely honest, I was a little nervous, and I was like, all right guys, again, a lot of members of my community were like raving about these, and so I was like, are y'all sure? Totally reputable company, big bold statement, 100% lint free. I think that if we dry wipe our brush, there does not seem to be anything left behind my brush, and I do like the texture of it, because you could use this rough texture for scrubbing the nail. I do like that. Now it does say absorbent and strong. It is kind of thin. If I take a little bit of alcohol here, you know, I mean, the alcohol does stay there. It's not like it's super wet or anything. Like, there is a little bit of cushion factor, like tiny bit in this towelette. So yeah, I mean, there are definitely 100% lint free and absorbent and strong. Now for me personally, especially with soft potted gel formulas or the Japanese gel that I use, again, I have been trained to use soft material to wipe off the inhibition layer from the top gel, and just feeling the texture of this towelette compared to something like this, again, super silky smooth kind of bamboo. I personally think that this feels like the third step or the third scenario within a manicure that I would need. I think it's great for prep. I think it's great for your nail art. So if you're working on a piece and you need to like quickly dry wipe your brush, I do believe it won't pick up anything here, okay? I personally do not rub my brush on any towelette, even if it's like 100% lint free. I still just don't, because I mean, at the end of the day, this is like paper towel or whatnot, and I mean, if you tear it, you are going to eventually break into some sort of fiber. So perhaps you're like, okay, Paula, well, what do you do for a dry wipe? I'll give you that in a moment, okay? Because I think as independent nail stylists, we have a lot of areas to consider where we're gonna splurge. Towelettes was not where I spent all my money. So just to recap, great for the prep, great for the during the service, and me personally, just from experience, I will feel more comfortable wiping the inhibition layer with something softer than this little towelette there. Next, so Kokoist, again, I'm telling you, we were on this live, we were teaching about gel nails, and all of a sudden everyone is in the chat like, what are those, where can I get those, and so on and so forth. And so the suggestion came about to Coco like, hey, you should really carry these because apparently people were interested, and they did. So what are the 3 criteria? Prep, during the service, and after the service when wiping the inhibition layer. So for prep, yes, this does it. It's soft, you know, kind of reminds me a little bit like the bamboo towelette here. I'm telling you, since I've been trained with Japanese gel, that last step is key. Always had been trained that we need something soft, something gentle. Okay, so I am not surprised that the wipes from Kokoist look like this. With that being said, let's put it to the test with our 3 scenarios during a gel manicure. Nail prep, yes, pretty much anything works for nail prep except cotton balls. Do not get cotton balls. You will definitely have a lint fest. Dry wipe, I would say that with a dry wipe, after doing it so many times, there may be the possibility that you pick up a lint piece. But just like anything else that we tear, this is going to be a little harder to tear, but you can still wear off the towelette enough to the point where you break the fibers and they become a little loose and you pick it up. Personally, I find that if you do like a tight dry wipe, so as long as you don't break the fibers too much, you're fine. You're not picking up lint. All right, so next up, the non-woven sponges, and they are 2x2s, they're 4-ply. They're called sponges, they're non-woven. Even after getting these, even after buying that, I still come back to the dental gauges. Sorry, I guess I'm just too used to it and you just can't teach me new tricks kind of thing. So here is the dental gauge, okay? Now, this for me satisfied all 3 scenarios during a manicure procedure. For prep, you can use anything again except like cotton balls. Done. In between the service, okay, same thing. I would probably not do a dry wipe because the surface of this towelette, it's got fibers. They're really intertwined together, so it's like they don't come apart easily. But after so many dry wipes, I mean, your brush is sticky, you know, it has gel. It is going to break down the material and expose the fibers. And yeah, of course, it's no longer going to be lint-free. So if you did a tight wipe like this, then again, you may not pick up any lint. I don't see any lint on my brush. If you start doing this here, dry wipe like this, right, with your brush, it has maybe like some gel, clear gel color, whatever it is, and you continue doing this on this guy, on this guy, on this guy, and definitely on the paper towel, you are going to break into these fibers and pick up some lint, some dust, okay? However, for me, and I think the reason why I'm so stuck with the dental sponge here is because it's soft enough for that final step that's been so important for me all these years, which is wiping the inhibition layer from the wiping top gel. So this is what I use, okay? I've tried this and I tried this when I got it, and again, this I let go a long time ago, and I was just kind of aching for my little non-woven sponge here. So I'm going to show you one last example before we close this out. This is it. Last but not least, this is like the second item that my community seems to rave about, and it's the OPI Expert Touch wipes. I like that they come in this little box, by the way. You can just store them in your drawer and easily kind of like work through the box. So that's pretty cool. I do remember buying these when I first started because I was also in search of a lint-free wipe. I couldn't tell you that I did or didn't like them. I actually don't remember them very much. They're very stiff. Do you see how they even leave an imprint here when you fold it? I mean, it's that stiff. But some people, again, are super content with them, and I think the reason is because there is that lint factor when they do that dry wipe. So for me, this doesn't affect me. Like, I'm going to tell you what I used to always have a lint-free surface, so that I'm not even like concerning myself with, you know, the highest quality lint-free towelette, and rather buying these in bulk. I think this is something that you have to be able to buy in bulk. Cannot really affect your bottom line, my opinion, but you do you. So very stiff. I definitely would not use this to wipe top gel, and I think you would cause some micro scratches. All right, so again, these are the most popular options. I did tell you that I was going to give you my tip on what I use for a lint-free surface. The reason why I never suffered having to have a lint-free surface is because I always work with gloves, and I think that really investing in gloves is more important, in my opinion, again, and in my bottom line at least, than finding fancy towelettes that you're going to have to go through like nobody's business, right? So I use gloves for every service because I'm going to be the person most exposed to gel throughout the day, throughout the hour, throughout the weeks, throughout the years. So gloves, I think, is where you want to spend your money, not necessarily fancy towelettes. Try to get the best that you can. Gloves were my lint-free surface. Like if I'm working on nail art, I can actually do this really quick. And because my glove is black, I mean, obviously you can work with whatever color, but even if you kind of just quickly went like this, then this sort of really gets rid of any dust or lint particle. And because my glove personally was black, I can always see if there was lint or not. So if I needed to dry wipe, guess what? I wasn't dry wiping on any of these lint-free towelettes. I was always dry wiping on my glove. The second option that I had for a lint-free surface while I was working was a dental bib. Again, if you have a dental source, then by all means reach out. If you don't, you can also find these on Amazon. They now do carry the cases of these, so you can find those dental gauges and the dental bib. This is a dental bib. You use it to cover your desk, and they usually come with plastic backings because if you remember your last dental visit, maybe there was like water involved and they didn't want to get that on you, so that's why they have this plastic backing. This is also going to ensure that no alcohol or acetone gets on the surface of your desk. And guess what? So when I would do my surface, I did the prep and all of that, the dust went all on here. And you can do two things. I don't believe that this is a complete lint-free surface, but actually once you close this out, say you got all that dust and things on here, you can actually fold this. And guess what? Remember that plastic backing? Well, now you have the perfect lint-free surface, guys. Like if it's not the glove, it's here. So it's done. You don't even have to solve the mystery of which towelette is 100% lint-free. I mean, at some point you can wear them all out and break into the fibers, remember, but you can't break into the fibers of this. This is plastic. And another way to create a lint-free surface is by grabbing any one of your lint-free wipes and spraying your cleanser solution. If you're a regular of this channel, you know that for me, that's 90% alcohol. So any of your lint-free towelettes, you can take and spray a little bit as you're working with your color or whatever product you're using during your service to wipe off your brush. This creates actually a perfect lint-free surface, okay? And it's going to keep your towelette from wearing off. So you can use this technique with any one of your towelettes. Again, it's just going to ensure that indeed your working area stays lint-free and then allows you to quickly wipe your brush. The other thing you can do to create a lint-free surface is to simply have a palette of some sort. It can be anything. It can be a stone, it can be this, it can be a lid. Like personally, I didn't even know that lint-free towelettes, like 100% lint-free towelettes, was a goal for nail techs because of the 3 scenarios that I've given you that allow me to create lint-free surface, whether that's my glove, whether that's my dental bib, whether it's a lightly moist towelette. So that's why I was always able to work with dental towelette here, because if it's slightly damp, I am actually not breaking the fibers. It actually preserves the fibers. It's when this thing gets too dry and your brush is dry and then you start wearing off and breaking into the fibers, then of course that is no longer going to be lint-free. So I hope that helps. Glove, dental bib, moist towelettes, and just a lint-free surface like a palette. And just a super extra tip, if you're like, well, I don't really want to always, you know, moisten a towelette with alcohol so that I can wipe my brush because I'm going to be dehydrating the bristles of my brush. I totally understand that. You can use any clear gel, and what you can do instead of using alcohol is to work on your lint-free surface, whatever that is. I would not put this on the glove though, because it just make it all over the place. And then just take a little, and instead of using alcohol, you use any clear gel, and then boom. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this episode was super fun for you. I've been putting it off for a while now, and it was just time to get it done. And again, members of my community were raving about certain brands, and I was like, hey, I gotta try this. And so I hope that with my criteria, you are able to decide on what lint-free wipe works for you, and you decide where you want to spend your money on. Do what works best for you. Now you got the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Use it. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.